The old can crusher gets some interesting upgrades at Massey's. Another new factory jig is discovered at Sanchez. Gigabay pile cap sections are poured at the build site. And Pad 2 rapidly approaches completion at the launch site. Hey everyone, Jeff A here and welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's Starbase Flyover update number 96. The rapid pace of work here at Starbase, Texas continues this week across the entire facility. Let's kick back and start over at Massey's test facility. Before we begin, here's a labelled map from Proky to find your way around the site. Beginning at the electrical and comms bunker, we can see that the conduit run to the building is being covered. To the left of the building, an addition has been made to house the transformers for the building. Moving up to the fluids bunker, we can see all the walls and pillars have been formed and poured, ready to begin the roof of the building. At the methane tank farm, the lower level frames have most of the pipes installed. Both sleds that seem to be placed on these frames are staged nearby for installation. Some of the plumbing for the liquid nitrogen can be seen under the kettle boilers, with a further manifold and frame nearby. The gaseous nitrogen exhaust system has its control valve and stack assembly staged, and can be placed in its final position now that the concrete around this area has been poured. Moving on, a new tank has been installed next to the existing three. It's believed that this tank previously resided at McGregor. Shifting to the new booster cryo stand, the main LOX cryo line has been installed as well as lines for other commodities. At the LOX hippos, only one top manifold remains to be installed. The LOX supply manifold installed across the 4 hippos has been removed and no longer appears at Massey's. Near the hippos, a fresh concrete pad is seen. This may be the location of an updraft exhaust vent for the LOX hippos as seen in the Pad 2 pump farm over at the launch site. The vent chimney parts can be seen here by the LOX tanks, however the fan for it has not been seen. At the LOX pump farm, one of the lower pump sleds is installed with the pump frame also in place. At the old can crusher, the platform with legs seen during the last flyover has been installed. A new platform has also been added into the middle of the stand. 6 mounting eyes have been welded onto the lower section. It's unknown if these are related to the ship's sea level engines or the outer RVAC engines. One thing to note is that 2 of them are spaced farther from the centre of the stand. Could this be related to a 9-engine Starship? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Around the top of the stand, a new ring surface is also being installed. Finally, the last of the Raptors has been removed from Booster 13's aft. The final 2 are lying nearby, while the aft section has also been laid down. That's all for Massey's this week. Let's move on to Sanchez. First, let's look at the map of both the build and Sanchez sites for your own reference. Starting at the GSC building, we can see the LOX output manifold for the sub-chillers at Massey's. It's likely that it was test fitted and tack welded in situ, then brought here for the final welding. The LOX inlet manifold is to the side. There have been no changes for the booster transport stand. A new type of factory stand can be seen under construction here. It has many interesting shapes and a row of bolt holes around its circumference. An access platform is being assembled just to the side. 3 notches spaced 120 degrees from each other and centre voids suggest it could be part of a new transfer tube stand for version 3 ships. Nearby, the second nose cone jig nears completion. The Star Factory barrel work stand construction area has been completely cleaned up with only 1 stand remaining. On September 2nd, it was moved near the scrapyard for temporary storage. Some of the spare parts have been moved to the side. The rest of them and a partially completed stand have been moved to next to Megabay 1. This area will likely be reassigned to a new project in the coming days. We would love to hear your ideas on what it could be used for in the comments below. The SQD arm appears to be largely complete, except for the main cryogenic lines. The stabilization arms for the Tower 2 chopsticks appear complete, with one of them receiving a coat of black paint. At least one has since been transported to Pad 2, with the first attempt at installation on the 2nd of September, though it would be lowered to the ground without being installed. The 2 new Tesla battery units and their associated step-up transformers have been installed near the disused power plant building. The concrete base for the water tank, formerly known as SN2, has been broken up and reduced to a small pile of rubble. Beside the rocket garden, the drainage work is almost finished. This week sees more concrete toward the boundary poured, with an excavator preparing the area for the final outflow. The area near Remedios Avenue has new lines painted to mirror the other side. Just before moving to the build site, we'd like to thank all of our YouTube and Patreon members. Remember, all our patrons get to participate in our Discord show and tell sessions on the same day of each flight. Here you can join in the discussions and ask your own questions. YouTube members also get to watch and listen in with a live chat function. Let's begin at the Gigabay, where the next section for the pile cap has been poured with the middle section skipped. This allows cure time before forms are removed. The pours appear to be hopscotching to allow previous pours to act as forms for filling the gap. Rebar along the back wall, where the centre wall connects, is progressing. Since the flyover, this area has advanced further than the gap along the Star Factory, suggesting it will be poured next. Over at Megabay 2, a 3-ring barrel and a reinforced forward section for what will be a new ship aft test tank for version 3 ships was rolled into the bay and stacked on August 27th. Work on Ship 38 is progressing, with the installation of its second aft flap also on the 27th. Outside Megabay 1, one of the Star Factory barrel work stands has been staged. Shifting over to behind the Star Factory, a new mystery item has been delivered. Let us know in the comments what you think it might be. Finally, at the new apartment building at Boca Chica Village, concrete sections have continued to be delivered to the site and erected to form the structure of the building. We can see rebar lying on multiple levels of the building that will be laid out for their final concrete flooring. Before we move to the launch site, give this video a like if you learned something new, and we thank you for your continued support. Here's this week's labelled map. Take a moment to pause the video if you need extra time looking it over. Starting at the Pad 2 GSE bunker, the 3 remaining first level cladding support beams have been installed. Further progress is seen with the cladding up the middle bay. The 2 other bays have paused after 3 panels, likely due to the suspected nitrogen purge system being incomplete, where the next panels will be installed. The northeast corner of the flame trench wall is in the process of receiving its final segments. The largest of these 3 has been placed, with the remaining 2 staged nearby. Near one of these wall segments, several steel plates are staged for installation along the top of the trench ramps. At the high-pressure distribution area, where recent documents call this isolation and purging, additional valve sleds have been placed near the pipes that extend from the fluids bunker. Stay tuned for a further look at the recent launch site plans at the end of the episode. Just above, the water offload manifold has been reassembled along the newest water tank. Moving to the bank of smaller water tanks, an additional pressurization pipe now connects the 3rd tank to the flame deflector ridge supply. This should indicate the 3 remaining disconnected and a yet-to-be-delivered tank will supply water to the launch mount plate. Construction has also continued with the mega bunker following Flight 10. The structural frame extends to the east, with the roof and floor sheeting being installed on the west end. The Pad 2 pump farm hasn't seen any further progress this week. To the south of the blast wall, an LR-1300 crawler crane has arrived. It's unclear where this crane will be used, especially since the SpaceX LR-11000 has been relatively inactive as of late. Moving to the other side of the tank farm, the second of 2 vertical LOX tanks has been removed. Since the previous flyover, the 2 vaporizers being used on their sides in front of these tanks have also been removed. Over at Pad 1, the return of routine refurbishment is seen. Scaffolding has been installed around the top of the launch mount, booster quick disconnect, and on the dance floor to begin preparing the launch mount for the next test. The booster alignment pins have been installed, and the booster hold-down clamps are still installed, suggesting that a static fire of booster 15 may occur before the launch mount is configured for testing of Ship 38. Moving across the highway, steady progress is being made at the ASU site. Some of the first concrete wall is finished along the northern perimeter, with forms assembled to continue toward the east. Along the southern perimeter, a double row of partially exposed piles can be seen with additional rebar cages staged for the western half that appears to only have a single row where the drill rig is positioned. As mentioned earlier, new documents were released on August 27th by the US Army Corps of Engineers. The public notice outlines expansion plans for the launch site. This includes the orientation for the replacement launch mount for Pad 1, as many have speculated as the only option that works with Tower 1. The plan also includes new staging pads, ground support storage, as well as placement for LNG liquefaction and methane refinement. with the ASU being constructed for nitrogen and oxygen production. These new plants would bring production of the three main commodities all on property and greatly reduce the dependency on hundreds of tankers transporting the needed commodities to the remote facilities. As you can see, there are many areas of Starbase entering their final phases of installation and new plans for more exciting upgrades and expansion here at Starbase. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can keep watching as we continue to bring these amazing photos from 6,000 feet. I'm Jeff A, and we look forward to bringing you a new update next week.